G'day everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be going over a new scope and how I set it up, get it all leveled up in the rifle. Then, weather permitting, it's pretty bloody cold and rainy here at the moment. Weather permitting, I'm going to go out, bore sight it, get it sighted in, and then maybe go try and bust some bunnies or something later on. But we'll see how we go for time. But it's a Meopta Optika 6, 4.5 to 27 by 50. It's got the MRAD 1 reticle, which was made by Dark Lord of Optics. Picked it up from H&S Firearms yesterday, so I'm just going to set it up today. And yeah, show you guys how I do it, what I do, why I do it, and yeah, that'll be about it. Alright, so quick disclaimer, the bolt's out of the rifle, controlled environment, so basically this may as well be a broom handle at this point. It's not going to hurt anyone, so there's no need to demonetize this video, YouTube, because it's too bloody cold and rainy to do this outside. So the bolt's out, it's completely safe. So this here's the 4 to 20 by 50 Citron S-Tac. I picked this scope up years ago. I've done videos on this scope before, and honestly, it is still a really good scope for the money. But I was starting to find that the glass quality wasn't up to my standards, especially since running some more expensive high-end optics. Even for the 223, this scope here was just starting to just not feel up to it for me. So I settled on the Meopta here, which I will do an unboxing of, but I just wanted to quickly go over, a quick initial setup. Alright, so I'll just give you a look at what I've got here. Got old scope, new scope, wheeler torque wrench, wheeler scope leveling kit, a couple of shims here that my brother's made up. So basically, you run them like this, and you run them underneath on your pick rail or your base, and underneath your scope. This flat part of your scope here. So it's just another way to get everything nice and level. I've got a couple of Leopold, however you want to say it. The Yankees always make fun of us Aussies the way we say it, but got a couple of high QD rings here. These are the old ones that sort of grip onto the scope, which I hate, and I do have some new ones to test out here, but I think for this rifle, I'm just going to run these old ones that I've got sitting around. And that's about it. I've also got some Loctite 243. So we will use that just on the ring screws. Won't be using it on the base, like on the top ring screws. I'll be using it just in here. I won't be using it on here because I want this to remain basically so I can run scope on or off the rifle. I don't know whether you can see, but some locating marks here in whiteout. This is how I used to run basically this scope here. So I can take it on and off, always mount it forward in the most forward position up on your rail. But I used to just sort of, I could run this finger tight, and I could take this scope on and off without losing zero and switch it between my thermal scope, which I do a lot of pest control work with for foxes and rabbits and stuff like that. So you can see that there. So it was just quick and easy. Just run it in, tighten it up, take it off. Didn't lose zero, which is exactly how I'll be running the new Meopta. And that's why I'll be going back to the Leopold rings. They've got a better QD system here than these Vortex ones that I've got on the Citron. So yeah, let's just start running it. Alright, so I've just got the action leveled, which I'm just using the pick rail for. So basically wherever I'm chucking this level, you can see it is level. So that's all done. So now I'm going to chuck the barrel level on. So action, level. So this is your first reference. Then put the barrel level on, get that level. Then you can take this off, start setting up your scope in your rings, and make sure your scope's level to this. It should be happy days. You can always double check with a plumb line, but I'm just going to do this for now, see how it looks, and then we'll work it out from there whether I'm going to run a plumb line or not to fine tune anything. The only thing I need to make sure is that these reference marks are actually going to work. Alright, so these rings here, or these bases, are hard up against the front lug of the rail in the slot that they are in. So now, basically just want to make sure this is going to work. I'm just going to use a little dab of 243 on these ring screws. Slap them in and just get them just very, very loosely in there. Because I still want to be able to move the scope around just to get my eye relief set. So get it all squared up and level. And I don't know whether you guys can hear on the mic, but it's raining right now. So I don't know if I'll be shooting this gun today, getting this scope sighted in, I'm not sure. Alright, so we know everything's level. I've just got to set my eye relief. I'm going to do that on max zoom. That looks pretty good to me right there. Alright, so eye relief's been set. Let's make sure that's still level from when I did that. Now, it's literally a case. Throw the level on top. Throw the level on top. Run these shims under here. So the shims, I don't know whether you guys can see that, I'm just sort of leaning forward here. Have a flat side, and the flat side's your top and your bottom. They just press up together. Just underneath here. So nothing's tightened up yet, but I just wanted to quickly show you these shims. They're basically like a wedge system where they cross together. As they cross together, they're both on an angle, and your top and bottom is perfectly square, perfectly level, perfectly flat. And they're resting up basically underneath the bottom of the scope here and inside the pick rail here. So they're wedged in there nicely. The top bubble level here on the top of the turret is also level, and this barrel level here is also level. So I've got three basically foolproof ways to say that that scope and reticle now is perfectly aligned. The only way it wouldn't be is if the reticle during the machining and making of the scope was slightly out of line, and then you could check that on a plumb line, but I'm going to be perfectly happy with this right here. This is level, top of the turret's level, and those shims are confirming that everything is level. So shims are under here, level, level. I normally do my ring screws to 20 inch-pounds. Now's the fun part of trying to get them all correctly spaced. The beauty of having that shim in there is the scope normally will move quite a bit when you're tightening down, but with the shim in there, scope doesn't move, which is bloody nice. Like I'm watching this level now, is not moving at all. Normally, every time you put a bit of torque on one of these, the scope will turn inside the ring, and it's bloody frustrating. Anyone that's mounted a scope will know exactly what I'm talking about. But having that shim mounted in underneath, it's not moving at all. Alright, then we're just going to alternate. Do a double cam. Done. So, still level, shims are still in there. Wiggle these shims out. Take that off. I'm just gonna double check by eye Make sure it looks good. It does look really good. It's always good to just double check it by eye, but that there is bang on. Just checking on lower power. Make sure it's not going to move. Yeah, so I don't believe there's any need to do a plumb line right now. That's it just looks perfect. Looks absolutely spot on. I will just double check, make sure that. Yep. So I don't know whether you guys can get yourself a pair of these shims or make some up. These here were basically CNC lasered out, so very, very tight tolerances. But like I said, just being able to have them wedged in underneath the scope while I'm torquing it down, stopping the scope twisting and turning every time you're tightening each screw up, it's bloody handy. And now watch this. Take this scope on and off as I please. I'll just loosen a little bit more. Can't exactly see what I'm doing. On and off. Got my locating marks there. Put it back on. Put it as far forward as possible. Tighten them up. Happy days. Bloody beautiful. So I can still use the zoom ring. That was one thing I was a little bit worried about with the because it's quite a large rear objective and a large zoom ring. I was a little bit worried by how close it would be to the rail, but that there's perfect. Absolutely awesome. Anyway guys, that's going to be the end of this video. So hopefully that's helped someone out. Hopefully it's given you some ideas, especially those little wedges. I haven't seen a heap of them being used before, so it could be something you want to try and either make yourself or get someone to make up for you. But they definitely make life a hell of a lot easier, so which you would have seen. Didn't take me very long to get that scope mounted, and it is bang on, dead level, plumb, bloody beautiful. So I'm pretty keen to go shoot it now. Anyway, I'm going to get on to another video. I'll see you next time. Basically today, oh my god, what am I even talking about? It's freaking cold here at the moment, hence the bloody hoodie. But why can't I talk? Optics, and it'll be going on my 223. I don't even know if I mentioned that already.